On a classic set of 10 times 100, I used to hold 108s. And no matter how hard I trained, I just couldn't seem to break through that wall. But a few months later, on that same set, I was holding 58s. Same swimmer, drastically different approach. In this video, I'm gonna show you how I got my fastest gains ever in freestyle and how you can copy them and do them too. I'm Lukas Siska, welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. To get those gains in such a short time, I want to first tell you about the 3 tweaks I made to my technique to get those gains. Then after we do that, I'm going to talk about the exact areas in my training that I changed that really had a huge impact on my performance. The 3 technique breakthroughs I had in my stroke were: number 1, I switched to a shoulder-driven stroke. Number 2, I stopped obsessing with what was going on top of the water, but focused on what was going on underneath the water. And I'll go into more details in just a second. And number 3, I simply focused on finishing my stroke. Nobody talks about this that much, but it can have a huge impact on performance. So let's look at that first change that I made. I changed my stroke to a shoulder-driven stroke. Those of you that don't know what that means, it's a stroke in freestyle that's predominantly initiated from the shoulders. All your power starts from there and then the whole body just follows. Sprinters are mostly known for this. Sprinters like Caleb Dressel, Jordan Crooks, they have incredible power and speed, and that the way they do it in their stroke, it's really fast, but it's also really tiring. You can't swim like that for long distances. And me being a triathlete, I needed it for swims that were quite long. So what I did is that I used that same principle of initiating the power from the shoulders, but I just elongated it. Now I can't take all the credit for that because I actually copied it from the best triathlon swimmer in the world, my training partner, Richard Varga. Take a look at how his stroke looks like. Just beautiful. You know, he just throws that shoulder across and he just glides with it. It is kind of like a galloping hybrid stroke, which Michael Phelps uses, but it's predominantly initiated from the shoulders. It's still shoulder driven. I just focused on changing my stroke to this so I could generate massive amounts of momentum and just glide with that momentum. And it actually sped me up quite a bit. Now, the second change that I made is that I stopped obsessing with what I was doing on top. I was just trying to make sure I had that high elbow, this arm close by, and that is a good thing. The only problem is that back when I was 17, I accidentally flew through a window horsing around with my friends and severely cut my arm. This made my arm quite stiff, and I naturally went into a windmill type stroke back in those days. I can bend it fine now, but I still kind of ingrained muscle memories that were tough for me to do this. And I was really just stiff and not relaxed when I was coming across on the top. And then I finally realized that, you know what? My power is coming from underneath. I need to just generate momentum and stay loose on top, not waste energy up here just overthinking it, and just focus on rotating and generating that power with the glide that I talked about with that shoulder-driven stroke. And as soon as I did that, I had a lot of mental relief and my stroke just became a lot more simple. Next thing you know, I was just feeling the water so much better and a lot less tired. And finally, the third area that I focused on was just realizing I needed to finish my stroke more. Everybody's concerned about the catch, and they should be, but people often forget that in freestyle, it's so important to finish your stroke. And guess what? I wasn't doing that to the utmost max. I was losing water because I was pulling my arm up too soon. You wouldn't believe how many swimmers and even elite swimmers are missing some water when it comes to finishing their stroke. It's so crucial, and the way I got myself to do it is when I swam with hand paddles, I made sure that I only had the finger attached, because if you have the wrist strap attached as well, you can kind of cheat and pull up too soon. But if you have the finger only, if you try to pull up too soon, the water catches right here, the paddle will fall right off. So the only option is to go all the way to the back and then pull up by finishing, and that's how you can teach yourself to make sure that you don't lose any of that water right there. You can have, if you pull up right here, there's water right here that you can still propel off of. and you don't want to miss it. So I did this and it helped me out quite a bit. And guys, if you want to know your true swim potential in this moment, I want you to take my quiz and we'll give you a score to let you know. Look in the comments below, click the link and find out. Now let me share with you 7 adjustments that I made to my training that had a big impact on my performance. I went from being stuck at that 108 to a few months later hitting those 58s. Number 1, the first adjustment that I made to my training is that I took advantage of the group effect. That's right, I stopped being a solo triathlete just trying to do everything on my own, and I started taking advantage of swimming with people that were better than me. The group effect is real. When you swim with people that are better than you, you just naturally go faster on every rep that you do. Over time, this has a huge impact on your fitness. It's just much more quality. Number 2, I started implementing strength training into my training regimen. Yes, I know I don't look like it, but adding a bit of strength did make me stronger. It wasn't crazy amounts. I just did two times a week, and I only did it for about 30 to 40 minutes, and I just focused on swimming specific muscles, pulling motions, pushing motions, some leg work to bring in more power into my kick. It had an impact, and especially when I tapered and I stopped strength training for the taper, I just felt this huge boost in my performance. Number 3, I realized in swimming that there are different energy zones to train in. Up until this point, I just tried to go as hard as I possibly could in every session, when in reality, you can't do that. What this leads to is just you swimming neither fast or slow, just kind of in this in-between place, and that just leads to plateaus. You can't swim fast unless you train fast. And I started implementing quality interval work where I would go really hard, rest, and then try to repeat that. This was huge. It really boosted my performance big time. Number 4, I realized my training had to become systematic. I stopped just doing random sessions. Like I said before, I was trying to go as hard as possible in almost every single session. This didn't do me much good. I started scheduling hard interval days combined with rest days, volume-based days where I did lower intensity, and then again, hard interval work that was training a different energy zone. I kept these days consistent. On that day, I always did that type of workout, and on my recovery day, I always recovered, and I didn't mix them. When I got my body systematic, not only did it boost my performance, it also helped me predict when I was feeling good, because after a recovery day, you know that on that quality day, you're just gonna be that much better. I kept the same system going into my peak race and just shaved off a little bit of the volume, and when it came time to race, I just unleashed my best performance ever. Number 5, I realized the importance of recovery. For the first time ever in my swimming career, I started implementing structured recovery days. Not only did this help me swim faster, it helped me on the hard days to go even harder, because I knew there was a recovery day coming around the corner. This kept me much more consistent. It kept me much more healthy. I used to get sick all the time. Once I started having systematic recovery, I rarely ever got sick. And then you can just train much more consistent as well. Your body actually increases its performance on the recovery days, not if you just go hard all the time. Number 6, good nutrition is like natural doping. Yes, I realized this to the utmost. I realized that my body, it needs a certain amount of protein. It needs a certain amount of carbs to perform at its best. Where before I was just neglecting these things and I wasn't getting enough of it. If you don't give your body the correct fuel, how can it perform? I did a simple thing that at night, I would just give myself a carb supplement after hard training sessions. It's called Waxy Maize, and I found the next day my recovery was way better than it ever had been. Try it, it can really help you. Finally, number 7, I increased my volume. Yes, it's as simple as that, especially for an athlete who's an endurance athlete. I was a pro triathlete. My volume was so important. Just by simply increasing it, I was able to improve my performance. And I was able to increase it, why? Because now I had structured recovery days, I had systematic training. All of this allowed me to be able to handle more volume, whereas before I was constantly going too hard and I couldn't ever reach those high volume days. Basically, as an endurance athlete, the more volume that you can recover from, the better it will make you. The bigger the base, the higher the peak can be. Sprinters, you guys are totally different. Guys, I made a ton of mistakes on my journey from being just an average kid to a professional world-ranked triathlete. Along that journey, I learned so much. And if you want to know all the insights that can really boost your performance so you don't have to make the wrong mistakes like I did, click the link below and be part of my newsletter. I share these insights every single week. Now, if you're interested in the 5 worst mistakes that swimmers make, check out this video. And I'm Lukas Siska. I can't wait to see you in the next one.